Yeah, we had some interesting games. We start Thursday night football. This is kind of a huge game. Can the Rams save their season? The Rams beat the Raiders last weekend, kind of beat them up. Rams are starting to get healthy. Cooper Kupp is going to play tonight. There's a rumor that Puka Nacua, who's practicing, might be activated also to play. Rams are trying to save their season. Minnesota, now it's hard to say with a 5-1 record, but they did get punched last week by Detroit. So there's a burning question. Has Minnesota got something to prove going into LA to meet the Rams? That game bears watching. Can the Rams win and kind of drag themselves back into an NFC wildcard spot? Second game, Philadelphia Eagles. They play Cincinnati. This would be a wild shootout because Bengals don't have any defense. You got Jalen Hurts versus Joe Burrows. You got an Eagles team that suddenly is pounding the football with Saquon Barkley, and the Bengals don't play much run defense either. This is going to be a really intriguing game because Philly's defense has been erratic. No pass rush, inability to cover wide receivers. So it might be a throwing contest between Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow. Buffalo, a road trip. They go to Seattle. This is going to be hard. This is Josh Allen versus Geno Smith. Now, the Bills, of course, made the trade to get Amari Cooper. The Bills think they're better offensively. Seattle does not have DK Metcalf. He's out with a strained knee. So Buffalo, this is a big game if they win this game on the road. Kansas City Raiders. This is a weird statistic. The Chiefs are unbeaten. They're sitting there at 6-0, John. Mahomes has 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Mahomes is only averaging 231 yards per game throwing the football. And their wide receivers that are on the roster in 6 games have caught only 27 passes. They're doing it with tight ends and with the running back Kareem Hunt in place of the injured Pacheco. This Kansas City team is so far away from what they used to be, and Mahomes' statistics are way off, way down, and yet they're still winning. Chicago Bears, Washington Commanders. We had hoped this would be Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels. Daniels has not practiced. He's got rib injuries. I don't see even if he does a walkthrough on Friday, I don't see how he plays on Sunday with that minimal amount of practice. Washington finally got beat. So we'll just have to see whether or not the kid in Washington can play against the kid in Chicago. And then you got all kinds of trouble. You got Dallas staggering at home. Ton of controversy about Jerry Jones and distractions. Now Jerry Jones, who last week threatened the talk show host on his flagship station, I can have you fired, is now feuding with Mike McCarthy over play calling and where's the running game. And now the players are barking at Jerry Jones. I didn't know this. They give tours daily through their new practice facility. Mm-hmm. And the fans are right there while the players are in meetings, looking through the glass, knocking on the window while the players are in meetings. It's the most absurd thing. And Jerry's marketing, Jerry's world.
Yeah.
Players are really upset at that. And then you got San Francisco, and they have so many health issues. San Francisco, Deebo Samuels was in a hospital for a day and a half, pneumonia, fluid in the lungs. They lose. Ayuk, gone for the year, 2 torn knee ligaments. That's really bad. Christian McCaffrey was supposed to practice. He has not been taken off the PUP list. They still don't know when he's actually going to start doing football-related things, and the clock is ticking to midseason and beyond. So those are the marquee games on the NFL schedule this week. The Chargers get a battered New Orleans Saints team. Chargers are still beat up with all their type of injuries too. So pick a game here that you think is really important. Go ahead, John.
I just love seeing the Cowboys struggle.
Oh.
And Jerry Jones getting upset and threatening to fire talk show hosts and everything else. We did the tour about 3 years ago at AT&T Stadium, and it was really nice.
Taj Mahal.
It is. And we went through the, not just the seating area. We went on the field. We went into some of the luxury skybox areas, and behind them were like these exclusive members only bars. I mean, of course, we were there like on a Tuesday afternoon when nothing was going on. But that is a really nice facility.
Bring your credit card, pal.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And so yeah, you do walk by some of their offices. So I'd imagine if they had a conference room with glass, there'd probably be like executives doing business there. But the question I wanted to ask you is really not so much about these games, but what was your breakdown on Monday night with the Chargers? How did that all go wrong?
Whole wild number of things. They got out toughed. I wrote a column about this on Tuesday morning. You can find it on my website. They got out toughed. They don't have wide receivers. They dropped 9 passes in that game. They had guys running open. Herbert was under a lot of pressure. He's throwing it. Their tight end Will Dissly, I think, dropped 3 or 4. Street free agent wide receiver Jalen Rieger caught a 40-yard pass on a crossing pattern, turned into a 40-yard gain, fumbled the football down at the 5, went into the end zone, touchback. Couldn't run the ball worth a lick with J.K. Dobbins. So, I mean, they got a lot of glitches. And then conversely, bad tackling. They got mugged. They got mugged at the point of attack. Their defensive front made no stops on James Conner. They could not stop their wide receivers. Yards after catch were significant. Kyler Murray had a 41-yard quarterback option run with coverages got blown, and he ran right by everybody. So, I mean, that's Justin Herbert cannot do this thing by himself. Doesn't have a lot of people around him. He's still got guys nicked up. So, but they're only 3-3. There's still an awful lot of football to be played. But I said last week, when Jim Harbaugh's last week's sales pitch event, his tent revival speech was, "We're back. Everything's okay." And my response was, "Who the hell you beat?" Now you got beat by Arizona, which was lousy. Prior to that, you got mugged by Pittsburgh, which at that point, Pittsburgh was lousy. Chargers haven't beaten anybody of note yet. And they got 2 games here at home that they're going to win. They got New Orleans, which is crippled, and got Cleveland, which is laying in the gutter because of all the injuries and no quarterback. So they could be 5-3, but I thought they were going to be 7-1 out of the gate and be a player. And instead, right now, they're just struggling to try to make this player a playoff franchise.
Interesting. Like, what's your take on Harbaugh? Do you, he's been doing this now for 6 or 7 games with the Chargers. Do you see him as a head coach that's more of like a leader, kind of establishing a culture and a philosophy for an organization? Or is he in the weeds with X's and O's?
No, I think he's a leader. I think the players buy into everything that they're hearing from him on a daily basis. Like I say, his press conferences are like a tent revival speech. You have to sort through all this stuff to get to good quotes. He did make a comment after the game on Monday night that I thought was really easy to understand, and that's his persona. He said, "We don't lose. We learn how to win coming out of those games." So it's not a loss on my shoulders, but we're going to gain something from this experience to be better next time. So we'll see.
Silver linings.
Yeah. So we'll see where this goes. Kumbaya, whatever. But it's so early in the season, but they got so many people hurt. I mean, it's stunning because these are his people. He brought the whole health training center from Ann Arbor with him. These are his people. And they got so many guys busted up. This week they had 13 guys who either did not practice or were limited. Limited means you're not on the field doing 7-7s, 11-11s. Limited means you're on the sidelines doing stuff with a trainer. Last week they had 16 guys on that injured list before the Arizona game. So it takes time to get guys hurt, and hamstring injuries. The wide receiver corps is just decimated.
Yeah, that play down the field. What's that guy's name? Ragnar? The wide receiver they picked up?
Jalen Rieger, former number 1 pick, New England, Philadelphia, released because drop balls.
And sure enough, that's what happened with the Chargers.
Chopped out of his hand.
Yes, I mean that was just a brutal play. But going back to these games on Sunday, I like the Vikings. I like it, kind of everything they're about, because we thought this JJ McCarthy thing was going to be real special. Then he went down and say Sam Darnold's the quarterback, and geez, this guy's been doing great.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge now. Suddenly, I mean, the Rams feel pretty good about themselves right now, and they've had just a horrible siege of injuries. Now they're starting to get a chunk of these guys back. And those kids last week, that Rams game against the Raiders, I mean, they played really hard and they played fast and they took the ball away from the Raiders. So we'll see if they can duplicate that again here in this Thursday night game against Minnesota. Okay, that's all things NFL. We got